Hello, everyone, and welcome to part three of our Seek an iNaturalist training. And if you've made it this far, you are ready for iNaturalist. And that's really exciting because this allows you the opportunity to not just figure out what you're seeing with the Seek app, but that now actually to post to a citizen science database and contribute data that can be used to map and record the distribution of different species that you're seeing when you're out in nature. So this is a whole nother level that's really exciting and really feels like you're involved in an actual project and meeting others in a community that are very similar to you and love exploring outdoors. So if you want to take your explorations to the next level, let's post those observations from Seek to iNaturalist and even use the iNaturalist app directly to post your observations so that others can see it and you can interact with them. So just before we go any farther, I just want to introduce what iNaturalist is as an app and a forum, and how it's different from Seek. So iNaturalist is an online social network of people sharing biodiversity information to help each other learn about nature. So Seek is great for ID, but it doesn't necessarily allow you to contribute data or share results or ask questions of experts. So if you look at this infographic at the bottom here, not only does iNaturalist allow you to ID the species and record your observations, but you can share with fellow naturalists, others who are doing the same thing. You can discuss your findings and what you're seeing with others, that other nature nerds around you, which I love doing. If you have an observation and you were not able to, say, with Seek, get a specific ID, you can post to this community forum. You can have experts weighing in on what they think that the ID is and help improve your ID skills, and just ask questions and socialize with others if you want to go that level. But at the very minimum, it allows you the opportunity to post your pictures and actually get a permanent record of the exact location of where you saw that and contribute to a citizen science database. So essentially, iNaturalist adds a community and data component to your explorations. The whole iNaturalist community is now close to 1 million different scientists. Some of these are experts, some of these are novice naturalists, people who want to explore and help and learn more about nature. And by recording and sharing your observations, you can actually create research quality data for scientists to better understand and protect nature. So just because you may be a novice naturalist and just trying iNaturalist out for the first couple of times, you can actually contribute really valuable data and contribute to this vast photo database that makes the apps more accurate and contribute to scientific research papers. So for example, if you take a look at this infographic here, if you sign up for iNaturalist and want to go this route, you have your own community. The videos and the pictures that you post can then be viewed by and weighed in on by the scientific community. They can communicate back to you what they think your observations are and answer questions for you. And then that scientific community, or those who are more expert naturalists or scientists, can then use those pictures and that record of where you saw that species and contribute to research and conservation efforts. So for example, let's say that you were tracking a certain invasive species throughout the region. An organization like Lower Hudson Prism or the Trail Conference can then use those observations to drive management decisions. Let's say that we're finding an emerging invasive species in a particular forest or park. We can then put out, trail crews and removal crews to then design projects so that we can take care of that invasive species. And maybe the goal might be control, or the goal might be full eradication. But we can basically make research conservation decisions around that. Foresters can look at iNaturalist and make decisions about where forest pests are, maybe vectors of spread, and then share that back with the larger scientific community, and then get back to you as the naturalist and give you information and updates on what they're finding. So this whole field is really exploding and totally a game changer for how we're learning about species distributions and biodiversity, and really factoring into not only like management decisions, but policy decisions. You as a citizen and or just as a community member can really contribute valuable data. So that term citizen or community science really involves data sharing and dialogue between community members and experts. It's a two-way street. you as a community member are contributing valuable data. Experts are giving you information back. Experts are using that data to then drive management decisions. It's awesome give and take. It makes you feel really part of something larger and contributing valuable data. So that's what it takes to become a community scientist, and iNaturalist is a great way to tap into that community. One of the main benefits, as I said before, and just to summarize through this infographic, is basically by getting involved in a citizen science project, you're contributing to real research. You can record a range of wildlife without formal qualifications. You don't need to undergo specific training, but taking tutorials like this gives you enough of a start. And honestly, the ID and have it using Seek and iNaturalist to help with the IDs, in addition to field guides, are amazing tools. You're able to record at your own time, at your own pace. You can go out in nature and go out for a hike and contribute to this vast data network and this community network of iNaturalist on your own time. There's no certain time commitments you have to. And actually, you can choose from projects for worldwide. You can, like, for example, there's a global, amphibian bio blitzes that you can be a part of. You can share information with people who are looking for species and amphibians, fish, certain plant types, invasive species worldwide. And say you're interacting with scientists from Australia and across the globe. It's awesome. And all of these efforts are basically helping to protect threatened species across the globe, creating a biodiversity database that people can use to really drive management decisions. And nearly 2 million people a year now are involved in citizen science projects every year, which is really awesome. So, just something to be mindful of. You're part of something bigger, and it's fun while you're doing it. And now is honestly an awesome time to become a biodiversity scientist. Not only a great time, but a really critical, important time. As I told you before, SEEK was actually launched by the World Wildlife Foundation and Netflix, this part of our planet, to look and track at global biodiversity and some of the declines that we're seeing. The Living Planet report comes out every 2 years by the WWF, and basically is a comprehensive study of the different trends in global biodiversity and the health of the planet. And it uses different metrics to do that. And I just wanted to show you a slide from the latest report in 2018 of what's happening to some of the plants and animals, and how important it is for you to get involved with citizen science projects, like getting involved with iNaturalist and tracking local biodiversity. There's a lot going on our planet that we can do something about to help record and save and protect the ecosystems, plants, animals that we all love. In fact, if we take a look at what's going on, between 1970 2014, there's been a 60% decline in overall vertebrate populations, and actually freshwater populations are being hit the worst, an 83% decline since 1970. I know that many of you know that the rainforests are shrinking. Almost 20% of the Amazon, for example, has disappeared in 50 years. And going back to the whole freshwater example, that's been really hard hit. In fact, freshwater fish have had the highest extinction rate of all classes of animals. So it's just something to be mindful of. If you actually take a look at the different mechanisms that are causing some of this biodiversity decline, it really depends on what type of animal that you're talking about. So for example, say you're tracking birds, the largest cause of biodiversity decrease worldwide is habitat degradation across the globe. So, raising of rainforests, coral reef decline, for example, these are hotspots and ecosystems with that harbor, huge diversity of species. And habitat degradation is one of the largest causes, followed by exploitation of species. So, like, for example, fish are really hard hit by that because they're being taken out of the environment for consumption, for aquaculture, and for aquarium trade. But invasive species worldwide one of the largest causes of biodiversity decrease in the world and global, and definitely something that we should be mindful of and be tracking, and something that you as a citizen scientist can help us with, and tracking invasive species and how they're impacting our habitats and plants and animals that we love to see when we're out hiking and want to protect and preserve. So, something to be mindful of, that you're contributing to something greater, and just to see the different mechanisms that are causing this, and how it differs by whatever animal, plant that you're talking about, but also that you can make a difference. We can record biodiversity, and so that we can make management decisions as to where to target our conservation efforts and preservation efforts towards. So your role in this is enormous. Back before citizen science and community science became a thing, researchers were really sort of strapped by resources and grants, not able to go on private property. But, as citizens, we can really contribute to this vast database and make a huge difference. The second benefit of joining a community science or citizen science project like in community like iNaturalist is that you can receive expert help. So I just wanted to show you, this is actually a picture that I posted to iNaturalist last year. This is just a snake I saw in my backyard, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? I've never seen it before. Is it poisonous? I had no idea what I found. And within moments, like within that day, I just posted, all I knew was that it was a snake, and iNaturalist knew that it was a snake, but wasn't sure. I posted that this was some sort of snake. I recorded the observation of where it was. And within moments, I got an ID from different experts that weighed in, saw my post, and were able to tell me that this was an eastern milk snake. So I learned something about it. I was able to read up on the species and know that it was not poisonous and was pretty harmless, and know that I didn't have to worry about my family or my dog, getting bit by this, for example. So if you're unsure of an ID, so say you go out with Seek and it gives you, a genus or like a family ID, but not specific to species, you can post a general observation to iNaturalist and then have experts weigh in that give you a more specific ID over time that improves the accuracy of the app. And usually you receive ID help usually within days. So, and this is just a real life example of me posting and then getting within days just a great specific ID from just posting something on snakes. So it was awesome. And actually, when you get two different expert helps, it can go to something that is called research grade. So if you have two of the same IDs from experts in the field after you've posted something, it then goes to something called research grade that can then be used by scientists and researchers gone through like a vetting system to be used for more scientific projects and be able to use as it's been vetted. So not only did I get feedback on that snake post, but I was able to connect to the list of top identifiers, they're called. So I post an observation, and then identifiers see that observation, then get more specific and weigh in on what it is that you've posted. And now I have a whole list. If I ever have a snake question, I know who to contact and ask questions for. These are all in my area of guys and that are top identifiers of eastern milk snake. If I could ask questions of them if I wanted. So as to how to get involved, of course, step number one is to download the iNaturalist app. And just like we did with Seek, you just go to your app store and you type in iNaturalist, and you will see this green icon of a green bird, usually a white background. Hit the little tap the download button and wait for it to download. And once it's on your phone, you should be good to go. And just to show you that, remember that when we were using Seek, you can now post pictures directly from Seek to iNaturalist. This didn't used to be the case, but in the past year, they've now allowed for an opportunity. Say you use the Seek app to get ID in real time. You can then, once you have and feel secure, you got that species ID towards the top. Remember that green button that says species, and now you know what it is that you're seeing. You take a picture. It takes you to a screen. So say I found lesser periwinkle out, this is one that I took with my phone. Again, I can go to the view species tab, but remember at the bottom, there is this option to post to iNaturalist. So if I wanted to go that route, I can use Seek and then post directly to iNaturalist, to the database. And now that observation can help others. It improves the accuracy of the app. And now I have a permanent record of the location that I saw that species. So then scientists and other community members can see where this species is. Remember that distribution map that we looked at with Seek? You know, it improves that distribution map and now can contribute to a larger database. Just a few things to be mindful of. Remember that the advantage to Seek is that your location services, even though they were turned on, it didn't actually record your GPS location so that others can track you. So if you did want to go this route and post to iNaturalist, um, you know, usually for that data to be useful and to get a record of the time and the place, you know, say I wanted to use that picture for phenology purposes to say, hey, it's flowering at this time of year in this exact location. That's valuable data that you can contribute. So, you know, it is, you know, you do have the option if you use iNaturalist to open up your geo privacy. And if you do choose to open that geo privacy, to turn that from closed to open, then whatever picture that you take, you know, you have a GPS pin of exactly where and at what time that you saw that observation. You know, that's important if you want to contribute to that larger citizen science database or community database to iNaturalist to post that. So you can turn your geo privacy to open if you don't mind having your GPS location available for others to see. The only thing I will say that if you do come across a rare and endangered species, you know, it's probably not best to, and it's recommended not to actually post that location and include the GPS location. It's better to take a picture of that and then get in touch with your local PRISM, you know, us at Lower Hudson PRISM, and tell us, hey, I found a rare and endangered plant in this location. You may want to just be mindful of that. But it's probably not good just in case you have some looters and people who are wanting to kind of sabotage those systems, that if you find something rare and endangered, maybe not best to post. But for common invasives, for example, or emergent invasives, you know, certainly able to post so you have a record of what it is that you found. The only other thing that I'll point out, that say you go out in your backyard or front yard and you want to figure out, hey, what is that bush or shrub that's growing in my yard? And it's a cultivated thing, say it's in a, you know, a potted plant or something. You know, you don't want to say that, hey, I found a record of this plant in this exact location, but it's in a, you know, it's being cultivated. You do want to tell the app, there is this opportunity to tell the app that it is a captive or cultivated species, so that we don't think that these things are growing out in the wild. And when we do the field tutorial for iNaturalist, I'll show you and take you through these steps in real time. But you will get prompted to do this if you go to the iNaturalist app, just to make sure that they're choosing that it's captive or cultivated. You can also post directly to iNaturalist and not through Seek. It's a very similar procedure to Seek. So once you download that iNaturalist app, it'll open into your camera mode for that ID mode. And in the next part of this tutorial, I'll take you out into the field to actually go and do that and see how we record. I'll go back to that same garlic mustard and just show you how to use the iNaturalist app. If you didn't want to go through the Seek app directly to post to iNaturalist, that you can do this directly through iNaturalist to contribute to larger projects to do that. And in the next section, of the tutorial, I will show you how to go about doing that, to post directly to iNaturalist, and not if you just want to forego using the Seek option. But again, Seek has great advantages because it can show you in real time what that is. But I will show you in the next tutorial, if you are interested, as to what that, how to do that. And again, just going back to privacy settings, iNaturalist will prompt you to access your location. And if you do want to pin that location of your photo, you know, all of these different prompts to allow while using the app allows you to access your location and to pin whatever, you know, photos that you're taking and to the actual location, and given a timestamp for it. So with that, I will stop sharing here. I'll take you guys outside again to look at a record of how to use iNaturalist outside. I've shown you how to do that with the Seek app, but now I'm going to stop recording. And if you are interested in taking the field portion of this and learning how to use iNaturalist in the field, please watch the next part of our tutorial. Okay, thanks for listening, and hope to talk to you again soon.